Hello everyone, my name's Annette, and you might know me on social media as Nettersplays. Well, today I'm going to talk to you about my top 10 most anticipated games coming out from Essen Spiel. So, let's start with number 10. So the 10th game that I'm looking forward to is A Feast for Odin. Now, A Feast for Odin is by Uwe Rosenberg, and it plays 1 to 4 players. Now, this is his biggest game of the year. Literally, it's a big, huge box. I think it's even bigger than Converta. But there's going to be so many pieces in this box. And what they're going to offer are these different ways and actions that you can pick. It actually offers almost a limitless amount of actions that you can take on your turn. So I'm looking forward to seeing why he did that. You know, why are you given so many options to do? It just seems like it's so crunchy, and I want to just digest all of that too. The other thing that I'm looking forward to from this game is the fact that Patchwork, which is a 2-player game that came out last year, has been a really big hit. And so I really love that game, and that game it originated from A Feast for Odin. So I'm really looking forward to how he kind of took that apart and created a different game from this base origin game. So A Feast for Odin is something that uses those little playominoes, I guess, but there's little polyominoes. So they're all different types of shapes, and you could put them on a grid and kind of make a little puzzle outlay. And so I'm looking forward to how he uses that with all the different actions. And of course, you got to feed your people, and you got to do all this agricultural stuff. But then again, it's all Vikings, so there must be some destruction in this game too, right? So I'm looking forward to A Feast for Odin. So the 9th game that I'm looking forward to is Oilfield. Now, Oilfield is by Paco Yanes, and it plays 2 to 5 players. Now, this game was on Kickstarter a while ago, and I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt because I did not back this game then. So I didn't realize back then that this game is actually really interesting to me. And so it's a basic worker placement game that is set in 1933 Texas, where there's a whole bunch of oil fields everywhere. Oil is in the land. And so what you're doing is you're trying to compete against other players, other corporations, and trying to gain these different land areas where all this oil can be at. And you're doing these different auctions and bidding. And then there's the worker placement aspect, which it really interested me. So you're going to have 2 actions, so to say. One is a worker placement action where you can put your worker onto the board, and that's public information. Everyone's going to see where you're placing your worker. The second thing, though, is that your second part of your action is that you're going to do an action selection phase. So then that is going to be secret. So you're all having these cards, and you're all going to pick and choose what you want to do. So you could partially see what or where this person is going, or your opponent, but you partially don't see the other half. And so it's a matter of mystery of what is this person going to do. And I really like that kind of mechanic. And so that's why I'm interested in getting Oilfield. So the 8th game that I'm looking forward to is Capital Lux. Now, Capital Lux plays 2 to 4 players. And the cool thing about this game that first caught my attention was the artwork. Now, the artwork, I think, is very beautiful on the box cover itself and also in the cards. So on the cards, they have all these profile kind of images of these different characters or professionals that are in this huge city, I guess. It's a sci-fi type of city. But I really like the artwork and the color tone and everything about it. But the more I looked into it, I actually was interested in the gameplay mechanic too. So how you play this is you have 4 different types of professions in these set of cards, and then you're going to have these certain cards that you're going to draw up into your hand, and you have a couple of options. You can either play them down in front of yourself in this tableau where you're scoring the actual point values of the cards themselves, or you can place them into the community. If you place them into the community, well, you get to use the action of that profession, but you're also lending yourself that value of the card into the community, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to get a value of cards that is less than the value that's in the community for each individual profession. Now, it's a little confusing, I know, but if you want to watch a little bit further into this video, I would suggest watching Rado's playthrough of the game. So you should definitely check that out. It really interested me, the game mechanic. I really like that kind of eye for an eye type of game where it's like you can use an action or you can use it as a value. If you use the action, well, it's going to be offered to everyone or someone else. So I really like that kind of game mechanic too. So definitely check out Capital X. So the 7th game that I'm looking forward to is Nautilion. Now, Nautilion is another game in the Oniverse series. Now, the Oniverse games themselves are games for 1 or 2 players. If they're played with 2 players, it's played as a co-op, but I don't really play it that way. I use these games just to play solo. Now, the other games like Sylvion and Castilion, they offer different ways of playing a solo game. For example, tower defense, drafting, and also tile placement. So Nautilion, what it's going to offer is a dice game. So I'm interested in seeing how this designer actually plays with dice and offers it as a solo game itself. So I'm really interested in picking this one up too. So the 6th game that I'm looking forward to is Honshu. Now, Honshu is a 2 to 5 player game, and it reminds me a lot of Piemon Flumen. Now, Piemon Flumen, or Plums, is also a trick-taking game, a card game, where in that game you kind of play cards face down into a pile, and then everyone turns it over and shows each other what they got. Whoever played the highest value card gets to go ahead and pick which one of the cards that was played they want to take, and then put it into their array of cards in front of them. Now, the cool thing about Honshu, though, is it uses that same mechanic as well. You all play cards, play a trick, and whoever has the highest value gets to pick first which one of those cards they want. But the cool thing that it offers is that you're actually creating a terrain or a map of using those cards. So they're actually a little grid system or map cards where they're kind of crossed out and they have different terrains and different types of things on them too that you acquire throughout the game. So what you're trying to do is build up a big map of different types of terrains or big terrains and trying to get as many points as possible. So it's a really cool way of just having a trick-taking game and also adding like a card placement or kind of like an array of a map that you're building and kind of growing. So I'm definitely interested in checking that game out. So the 5th game that I'm looking forward to is Ave Roma. And Ave Roma plays 2 to 5 players, and it was a Kickstarter too. Unfortunately, I didn't back it. So that's another game that I didn't back that I just didn't look into, and I don't know. But anyways, I'm a little upset about that. But hopefully it'll be available soon from Essen. So the cool thing about Ave Roma is that not only does it have like a round game board in the middle, which other games really don't do. They usually just go for the square rectangular boards, but it has a round board in the middle. Also, it has individual player boards that are asymmetrical from one another. So you're going to start off with a different amount or types of resources than someone else. And not only that, you're also going to go ahead and have different exchange rates. So you could trade in different resources or amounts of certain ones for something else that's different than another opponent's exchange rate. So that's cool. Another really interesting thing about this worker placement game is that everyone has workers, and usually you put out your set of workers and then you get them back and you activate something. However, all the workers are all the same color, so they're pretty much, it's a community pot of workers that you're going to go ahead and play. So you're playing onto the major board and you're setting off workers there. And the thing is that every time you put your worker out there, well, another player has the opportunity to take that one as well. And that's a really interesting thing that I found about Averoma, is just that it's a community of workers, not just your own. And so you're going to play on the fact that, you really need to get something, and you really need to place a worker there, and you're just hoping that someone else is not going to take it. Or, you can kind of deter someone by placing a worker that they might be interested in, kind of making them take something that you're not interested in, just offering up something that, they might be interested in. So I'm really looking forward to trying out Averoma. Alright, so I'm really looking forward to these top 4 games now. So the fourth game that I'm looking forward to is Cottage Garden. Now, Cottage Garden is by Uwe Rosenberg, and it plays 1 to 4 players. So that's already a benefit, that it plays solo play too, and it plays 4 players. So the cool thing about this game is it's similar to Patchwork in the sense that Patchwork has these playominoes or polyominoes where you lay them out and you try to cover your whole quilt by adding in all these pieces, and hopefully you fill it up. But in Cottage Garden, what you're trying to do is you have a whole garden, and there's cats too involved, but what you're trying to do is there's certain areas that you're not trying to cover. So the cool thing is that you're kind of working around, these empty spaces. And so I'm really looking forward to playing it with multiple players and also solo too. So the third game that I'm looking forward to is Jorvik. Now, Jorvik is a reskin game by Steffenfeld. It plays 2 to 5 players, and it's a reskin of his other great game, the Speakerstadt. Now, the Speakerstadt is one of my favorite Steffenfeld games when I have a big group of people. It's really light fun, it's really interesting bidding, and I really enjoy it. Now, the reskin Jorvik is going to have pretty much the same type of gameplay, but it's going to be a Viking theme. And the other cool thing about Jorvik too is that it also is going to incorporate the expansion to the Speakerstadt, which is almost impossible to get. And if you do get it, it's probably going to be in German. So the cool thing about Jorvik is that it's going to have the base game along with the expansion and maybe a couple of redos or something of some cards or the way the game mechanic works. But I'm definitely looking forward to the other Steffenfeld game, Jorvik. So the second game that I'm really looking forward to is Great Western Trail by Alexander Pfister. It's a 2 to 4 player game, and yes, he has been on a roll. Like he has Isle of Skye, which won last year's Kinderspiel Award, and also Broom Service, which won the previous year. And also there's Mombasa and Oh My Goods and Port Royal. It's just like all these amazing games that this one designer has produced not so long ago. So his game of this year is going to be A Great Western Trail, where it deals with cattle ranching. Now, I'm not too keen on the idea that, you're going to be cattle ranching because I'm a vegetarian, but I'm just going to see it as me just collecting them all for pets. So, so you're getting all these cattle and you're moving them from Texas all the way to Kansas City. And so you start at the bottom of the board and you work your way up. The cool thing is you're starting with these set amounts of cattle. You're traveling across these different pathways on the board. Now on the board you're going to have these pathways which are going to have some floods, or they're going to have, some terrain, kind of natural elements, disastrous elements, or you're also going to have these other opportunities where you can build different points or buildings where you can land and you can benefit to help you along the way. Your opponents are also going to do that too. So whenever you land in that kind of area, then you're going to have to give them money to stay at these different locations. So it's a really cool game where it's creating a sense of adventure from moving a set group of cattle or cards over to the top of your board and doing this through several laps, building your whole just array of buildings and pathways, and it just seems like a really big, great game that I'm really interested in playing, and hopefully I could see this being another contender for next year's Kinderspiel again. My number one game that I'm really looking forward to is The Oracle of Delphi by Stefan Feld. Now, The Oracle of Delphi is a 2 to 4 player game, and it's Stefan Feld's big game of the year. Now, he actually produced 3 games this year, and that is the Castles of Burgundy, the card game, along with Jorvik, which is also coming out, and it's also on my list, and the Oracle of Delphi. So this is the big new game that he's coming out with. And what it deals with, it has modular tiles. So every time you play this game, you're going to set it up differently. There's these different islands, and what you're doing is it's an adventure game. You're traveling from island to island, and what you're trying to do, the theme, actually there's a theme to this game, is the fact that Zeus, he says, go ahead and do these things for me. And what you can do is you can build statues, you can build, you can gather resources, you can transport them to different locations, you can also build temples, you can also defeat monsters. So you could do all these types of things. And what you're doing is you're trying to accomplish these goals, everyone else is too, and it's a racing game. Now, Stefan Feld hasn't made a racing game at all. So this is his first big racing game. And so unlike a point salad game where everything you do gives you points, in this game, everything you do can potentially help you get ahead of the other person. So you have these 12 things that you need to accomplish, these 12 goals. And so what you're trying to do is move from one island to another island because, you know, you might need some resources here, you might need to build a temple there or something. So you're moving around. And all these actions that you're taking are mitigated through these dice that you're rolling. These oracles are also foreseeing the future, what you can do. So you go to these temples where the oracles exist, you throw these dice, and then that's going to pretty much tell you what you can do on your turn. It also is going to move the gods, ladders, and this and that. It also has a lot more into this game. I'm really looking forward to it. It's a game that's been on my watch list for the last year. So it's finally coming out, and I'm really looking forward to just getting this game and playing it and putting it on the table and just analyzing and figuring this thing out. So if you ever get a chance, you should definitely look into the Oracle of Delphi. It's Stefan Feld's big game. So that's it. So I'm also interested in seeing what games you're interested in. What games are you anticipating that's coming out of Essen Spiel? Make sure you leave some comments below and just let me know what you're looking forward to. Maybe there's a game that I missed that I should look into, or maybe I offered some games that you're interested in now. So all the games, I'm going to list them down below where you can look more into it on Board Game Geek, as well as the Meeples Included Geek List, where all the other Meeple Included members also listed their games that they're looking forward to as well. So I'll leave all the links below. Make sure to subscribe, and if you want, you can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, I'm on Instagram. I'm also part of Meeples Included and the Instagamers Network. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye.